Uh, my name's Dan Shapiro. I work with Google, and I'm here today to show you a product called Google Advisor. We've talked to thousands of people about what frustrates them about searching for information on the internet. And one theme that came up several times was searching for major financial products is scary and doesn't work the way people want it to. Some of the common complaints were things like, I could find a teaser rate, or I could find some sort of rate that looked really good, but then when I went to go get it, it wasn't actually available to me. Or I worked with a lender who seemed credible, but then it turned out I had a really bad experience. That wasn't a reliable lender. Or my favorite, people who submitted their information to one person to find information about one product, and then found that personal information scattered to the wind like the seeds of a dandelion, and their email filled with spam for months and years to come. So we built this product called Google Advisor to make it easier to go search for everyday financial products. And I'm going to show you a few of the highlights. I'm going to start out with CDs, a relatively straightforward product. People generally care about rate of return on CDs. So we just stack rank these by rate of return. There's a few controls so that you can narrow in exactly what you want, but most people are going to look for the CD that offers the best return and go apply for that directly online. Very straightforward process. Finding a bank account isn't much more complicated. We give you the option to search for those based on locality or based on rate of return. So you can say, I only want to see banks with branches near me, and we're going to show you ones that have branches close by. And again, you can look based on rate of return, based on brand, et cetera. These are fairly simple products as compared to something a little more complicated like mortgages. With mortgages, there's a whole lot of moving parts, some that you can see and some that you can't. The obvious ones are things like whether you're going to refinance or do a new home loan, and things like how much the house is going to cost, how much of a down payment there are, what different types of loans. We actually make it very quick for the user to explore all sorts of these possibilities by entering this data and then playing with things like, what if I'm willing to pay more points? What if I'm willing to put down a larger down payment? And all these rates are rates that have been verified to be available immediately. So you know that you can go and get these loans directly. Some of the things you don't see behind the scenes are the engine that sorts through millions of different loans to find the one that's most appropriate for you, and our quality assurance program, which includes calls to every single one of our lenders, 2 calls every month by mystery shoppers who actually verify that there's a great experience. Somebody picks up the phone. They call back in a reasonable amount of time. There's no bait and switch, that these terms are actually available, that the lender knows about the details of the program and follows up in a timely fashion. So a consumer can have confidence coming here that these banks, large or small, are all going to provide them a great experience, and that the rates they see are actually and genuinely available. Once it's time for them to reach out and actually contact a lender, we have a great experience there too. They've got a phone number they can call, because some people want to get on the horn and actually talk to a human being. That, of course, is anonymized, so the lender doesn't get their phone number automatically, only if the user wants to share it. If the user wants to request a call, the same thing happens. It's proxied through an intermediary number. And if the user emails, this is one of the coolest things, if the user actually emails a lender, the lender doesn't get their email address. Instead, there's an intermediate address in the middle. And if the user loses interest and doesn't want that person to bother them anymore, well, after a lender sends 3 emails without getting one back, that email's turned off automatically forever. So that consumer keeps control of their own data from the very outset. So we think that really helps to address the problem. The last thing I'm going to show you here is a credit card product. Now, credit cards are interesting and complicated because everybody wants something different, even more so than any of the others. Balance transfer, intro transfer, APR, and so on. I'm going to go a little bit off the rails here and show you something that isn't our production site. This is what you can see at google.advisor.com, but I'm going to give you a sneak peek of our designs for our next generation credit product. So this is something you'll see coming out in the months ahead, and you'll see it's quite different. Some of the obvious changes, putting the brands up at the front, making it easier to compare some of the highlights of how these cards are different, whether it be, you're kind of seeing apples and oranges here, right? Up at the top, you've got a cashback card. Then you've got a platinum card that not many people are going to qualify for, but offers really great points and rewards. You've got a card for people who are rebuilding their credit scores that has great economics around it in terms of low APR. We know that there's so many different kinds of people that we throw up something for everybody. But even though you're seeing apples and oranges, it's not hard to compare like with like. So I can say, I just want to focus on how the rewards compare. So you can see one of these is cashback, one has a whole variety of rewards, one doesn't have a rewards program because it's for people who are building their credit. Well, if you like what you see and want to focus on, for example, cashback cards, as soon as I click this, I'll get a whole different set of cards. and options to further narrow this down. So I can say, I do a lot of grocery shopping, or I fuel my car up a lot, so I really want to focus on those set of rewards. Once I figure out what it is that I'm looking for, I can compare the terms and conditions of the cards I like most. I can dive into the details and go read all the terms and conditions in a friendly and handy format, and ultimately, I can click over to apply. So this is Google Advisor. I hope you'll check it out at google.com/advisor. And if you represent a company that should be showing up here and isn't, I'd love to hear from you. Please check in with my colleague, Charles, who's back at the stand back there. Send him an email, because we love to work with any institutions who offer these products to help make them available to Google customers. Thanks very much. Have a great show.